My sway bar, I'm not sure if it actually does anything because I could rock it back and forth pretty easily. Today I'm working on my truck, changing out these end links, and I'm also going to be changing the bushing on the sway bar itself. I got some cheap Detroit axle end links, and from the reviews I've seen, these bushings crack and fail pretty quickly, so they're useless pretty much. So I got this Energy suspension bushing kit to go with it, and my truck has a lift on it, so I got these drop brackets for the sway bar, and we'll try these out and remove the extensions I have on it right now that came with the kit and see how that works out. My sway bar, I'm not sure if it actually does anything because I could rock it back and forth pretty easily. So I'm going to be trying out the drop bracket and changing the end link while I'm there, and also putting in the Energy bushings. And this is the Energy bushing kit. Comes with 4 bushings and washers for the end links, and then the 2 sway bar bushings that are just slip over. You just slip them over, put grease on them. The drop bracket I got comes with new bolts and nuts and everything, and it looks pretty nice, and it's made by Proton Suspension. This is everything that's being installed today. Alright, right now I'm about to remove the top bolt and nut. The bolt's on the outside, and it's a 18mm. And then on the right side I got 21mm flat wrench to hold it, and I'm about to break this loose. This nut has to be reused. Washer right here in between the sway bar and the end link has to be reused. There, I pulled the bolt out. The washer fell on the floor. That bolt has to be reused. Now the sway bar is loose. I already took the other side off as well. Get the end link out there all the way. There's a nut in the bottom. Mine's a 22mm, but that's not a OEM nut, so it'll probably be a different size. And I'm just gonna impact it off. The end link up top is spinning, so you may have to hold that, or actually loosen this nut first down in the bottom before loosening the end link from the sway bar. This will just lift right out. The end link is OEM and it's really worn out, so anything is better than this. The sway bar bracket is held on by 2 13mm nuts. I'm gonna break those loose with my impact, and then the whole bar will drop out because I already did the other side. And that's it, my bar is out. And the bushing that slips off, you just crack it open and slip it off. Alright, now I'm just going to snake this bar out so that I can install the drop bracket. And I'm going to clean up all the rust and put some paint on it. And I'm just prying these clips off, the bolt retainers, so that I can install a lock nut with a bolt and washer instead. And these just pry off with a flat blade. So you pry them off and pull them out. So I'm doing that on both sides. And this is what they look like in there. Putting blue thread locker on all the bolts. ahead of time. This is the bracket. I'm putting it with the flat side outside and the opening on the inside, and there's a spot with it indentation for the hump, and that part goes to the bottom where the new bushing and everything will go. So a bolt and washer to the top there, and a bolt and washer through the top there. Put our bracket up there. Put the bracket on. Put a washer on. And we've got one nut cut. So I'm just gonna catch the other one. The easiest way to torque this is in the bottom. You just put a 3/8 drive extension through, push your socket on there, put that on there, on the nut, and that's my torque wrench. And put a flat wrench up top there to hold it, and then torque it with your torque wrench. And that's what I did. And these are all torqued to 35 foot-pounds, which is stock specs. So both these brackets are fully installed on both sides. Next, I'm putting the sway bar bushing onto the sway bars while I have it off the truck. So these just split open and slip over here. But you want to put grease on the inside. It looks like there's threading in there, and that's where the grease goes. So just fill it with grease, put a lot, and then slip it over. Put the grease in there, and then just spread it around in there. Pry this open with a flat plate or something and slip it on. And that's it, it's on. So I just used a flat blade to pry it open, then I got it on there. There's plenty of grease in this thing. It's well greased, so it's not gonna squeak. We got both the sway bar bushings on right now and greased. Now I'm gonna get one of these end links on with the energy bushings. And just take this nut off. I'm not using none of the bushings that comes with it because these things are, from the reviews I've seen, they fail almost instantly. I'm not using any of that. I'm gonna use this nut. Put some grease in there. That grease is on there good. Now this will just go onto the truck. The nub part goes on first from the bottom, and then you just catch the nut. Put the grease on, put the washer on, then I'm putting the grease on the washer that the bushing will sit against. The flat part goes on the washer first, the nub part goes out. So that's just like that. Put some grease on this, the unthreaded part. So it's unthreaded, I'm gonna get some grease on it and slide my bushing onto that. And that's good. Now I'm just gonna put this on the truck and then put the last bushing in. To tighten the nut, you can hold right here with a 17mm flat wrench to tighten the nut in the bottom. I'm just putting a little thread locker on here. I lifted the bar on. I put the bolt through this side, put the washer on this side, slid the bar over, and then caught my nut. I did that on both sides. Nothing is tightened, everything is loose right now. So next thing I'm gonna do is swing this up and catch the brackets for the sway bar back on right here. And then I'll go through and tighten up this and tighten up everything. I got one side bracket on. Once again, I put a washer with the bolt through the bottom, and then on the inside, I put the nut with a washer and torqued it to about 35 foot-pound. And this side's done. I'm gonna torque that end link right there and then torque that down to the bottom. The torque for that is 111 foot-pounds. I tightened up the bushings there until it crushed the bushing, and I noticed it started to bulge out a little on the sides. And the upper I tightened to 111 foot-pounds, so that's done. Now the sway bar is really strong, it's not moving anywhere. Before I could just grab the bar and shake it around easily, Now it's solid. It's not going anywhere. I definitely like the drop brackets more than the extensions it used to have installed on the end links. So that's it for this job. The truck should hopefully drive a lot straighter, less wandering, and tighten things up in the front end. Before it's just all over the place.